Driving business.
This is Smart Means Business. For last year, there were a total of 23 bills that were passed by Parliament, and amongst the other bills that were passed, 19 were passed during the second session of the parliamentary sitting, which amongst included the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Amendment Bill 2020. This particular one is a bill that is targeting the microfinance sector, or those particular microfinance groups and institutions. Now, most of them do say that some people tend not to trust them, and apparently they want to have that regulation from the Bank of Uganda, the same regulation that appeals to the to the other financial institutions, which include the commercial banks. And of course, during the same situation with the same bill, it does tackle quite a number of things, regulating and as well as safeguarding those under the microfinance institutions. But in the SMB on ground this particular morning, we look at the microfinance regulations and of course their performance in 2022, and also looking forward to what the Microfinance Deposit Taking Institutions Amendment Bill, if started into law, what will be changed and how possible will it be for the game changer in microfinance institutions in the country. We have more with the SMB on ground with Barigi Andrew.
This is Smart Means Business on Ground. I'm Andrew Barigi, and today we are talking the microfinance industry, trying to understand how it really operates in the country, Uganda. Quite lots have been transpiring in the previous year, that was 2022. The economy was opened, transactions resumed. We saw the velocity of money moving from one area to another, but still, we faced a little bit of difficulties in terms of transactions in that regard. Now, away from that, heading back to the microfinance, recently there has been a proposal to turn the microfinances into banks, because lately there has not been quite enough trust amongst people to trust the microfinances. But then at the end of the day, we want to find out, what do the sector players, most especially the private players, think about this particular aspect, and why did they propose this particular aspect? But still, more of the discussion will be rotating around the microfinance industry, getting to see how it operates in Uganda. But let's first dwell onto transformation of microfinances in Uganda. And with me, I'm with the CEO of UGAFOD Uganda. It's a microfinance institute, and of course dealing quite a wide range of services. Of course, quite so many right there. And he's none other than Shafi Nambobi. And of course, he's going to make a further introduction of himself as we keep the discussion moving. Mister, you're welcome on SMB on Ground.
Thank you very much.
Okay? No, it's okay. Let me hold for you, sir. A brief introduction of yourself as we talk these matters.
Thank you very much. I'm called Shafi Nambobi, working as the Chief Executive Officer of UGAFOD Microfinance MDI Limited. Of course, I add the word MDI because we're a regulated microfinance institution. MDI means Microfinance Deposit Taking Institution. I've been in this position since 2017, but prior to that, I've worked in different capacities, right from the loan officer, supervisor, branch manager, regional manager, operation manager. So I have a wide range of experience, both in Ugandan markets and also in international markets such as Malawi and Tanzania.
Very interesting, sir. Now, let's talk about the current, what is moving on currently about transformation of microfinances into banks. What's your opinion, according to your experience into this industry?
Thank you very much. Of course, the the evolution of microfinance started more like in an informal way, and then the institution started, and they used to operate through streets, villages with no offices, and in the Ugandan space, we have seen transformation that has been coming in, and which also led to the enactment of the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Act in 2003. Since that act was formed, we had some institutions that transformed from NGO to regulated microfinance institutions. Some of them include, of course, you remember there was Uganda Microfinance Limited, which was acquired by Equity Bank. We have Finance Trust, which was Women Finance Trust, and then we have Finca, we have Ugaford, and then we have also EFC. Those are the ones that have been transforming. And of course, recently also had BRAC, which was an NGO, but it transformed into Tier 2. So we have seen that some of the microfinance institutions have even been able to move into Tier 1, such as the Finance Trust Bank. And then, of course, like I've mentioned, UML was acquired by Equity. So the importance of microfinance transforming is really real, and is for the betterment of the country, because as the institutions transform, they bring on board more and more services to their people. And of course, we know that the understanding, when we mention microfinance, everybody's mind goes into lending, credit. So that is what most people know what microfinance is. But now, when it comes into transformation, it means that we're introducing other services, such as like savings. People can be able to save their money, and then also people can be able to have, say, money transfers. You have heard about Western Union, MoneyGram. So these are the wide range of services that comes with transformation. And again, we need to differentiate. If you look at the Ugandan microfinance sector, what we can say, it is developing in a very positive way, because it is developing in terms of being professionalism. And that's why you see we have different tiers that we have. We have Tier 1, of course, those are the commercial banks. Some of them even do microfinance. For example, like Centenary. It started more as a microfinance institution, and then it transformed into banking. And then we also have institutions that continue to go to the low end of the market. But in terms of the microfinance, the low-income earners, they associate themselves more with microfinance because they understand who they are. They are able to reach out to them. In most cases, microfinance, they go to the customer rather than the customer coming to them. Yes.
Maybe briefly, we can also look into real-life scenarios. You talked about that the transformation onto the Tier 1. Now, let's take a look at the impact of this transitioning. You know, we having these microfinances, of what impact have they been to the public in regards to giving out the relevant services, financial advice, giving out the required loans for people to promote, to invest much more money? Because at the end of the day, people borrow this money for investment. How has this had an impact on investment, in your opinion?
Thank you very much. Actually, if you look at the flow of money amongst the microfinance institutions at different levels, this is actually, it has created peace of mind to most of the Ugandans, because what you need to now to think is, what business can I do? But in relation to working capital, that should not be an issue that I don't have working capital, because when you go to a microfinance institution, it will be able to give you a loan, And I will give a typical example. Is while I was a loan officer, I had a customer who was purely baking mandazi. And this customer, the working capital, she needed only 50,000 as working capital. But she could borrow 1 million shillings. And then we ask, where are you going to get this? But when you look at the turnover, the 40,000 working capital is what was paying the loan installments for 1 million. And then most of these loans are short-term loans, 4 months. So you find that someone can be able to take 3 million shillings in a year and is able to pay back well. So microfinance has played a very key role. For example, I'm currently the national president for Association of Microfinance Institutions in Uganda. And as we speak now, outstanding loans are over 1 trillion shillings. Yes, among the member institutions. And again, if you look at the loan disbursements that are made in a year, these microfinance institutions are disbursing over 700 billion shillings. A lot of money. And all that is paid back. So that demonstrates that for you as a Ugandan, so long as you have an income generating activity, whatever level it is, you can be able to approach any microfinance institution and they can be able to lend to you. And it is all about trust. Because if you are trustworthy, you pay well, you will come back, they will give you another loan. Yes.
Well, you've talked about money, and I got a question. Probably I may not have prepared to ask you this question, but maybe we can hint on it briefly. 700 billion disbursement annually, and that's a lot of money. And it's always, like you said, it's always recovered. There is always this aspect where people tend to think that people attach microfinances to like money lenders. These money people, individuals, and they attach to the aspect of recovery strategies. Like some say that they are not friendly. What do you have to say about that? A little, just to hint on that, because 700 billion is a lot of money to recover in 1 year.
Actually, it is not even only 700 billion. If you look at the disbursements, they are over 1 trillion shillings. Now, if the recovery methods, I think we always tend to look at, normally a negative story moves very faster than the positive ones. Right. Because if these recovery measures were harsh, I don't think we could be continuing to lend. And of course, with time, we have the various regulations. For example, in the past, the money lenders were not having anybody supervising them. But right now, we have Tier 4 that are being supervised under Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. So whoever has any complaint about any harsh recovery measures should be able to report. But again, like I've mentioned, we also have the Association of Microfinance Institutions in Uganda. That one continues to receive customer complaints. And again, the issue is about the relationship. Because the microfinance needs you as its customer, and also need you as their customer. So I don't think there should be the issue of the harsh recovery measures that should continue to be happening. So, and again, for the regulated microfinance institutions, we have what we call consumer protection. So the customer needs to know their rights, and there are formal ways of how we can do the recovery through legal means rather than the harsh. And I don't think there is any microfinance institution that is promoting that behavior. So that is not something that is tolerated, and we condemn any harsh recovery measures that may be applied. But again, if you have a problem with your institution, please, it's always good to be in touch. Don't hide away from them because you need them and they need you. Yes.
Very interesting. I think he has made it very clear regarding recovery measures. Of course, we always have this perception regarding that, they are so tough when it comes to recovery, but it's not true. They are protective measures, very clearly stipulated regarding that. So that shouldn't be a complaint for any trader out there. You need to take responsibility to actually recover that money. So let's look at this year. 2022. Let's look at 2022, and we see how has the industry persevered through 2022. How have the market dynamics in 2022 affected the performance of this industry?
Thank you very much. One is the 2022. We expect it to be a better year for the industry, the microfinance industry, because one is you are aware that we spent some time without working, especially during the COVID pandemic. But we can say that everybody is back into business, although the prices are high, but everyone is back into business. So we expect that this year is going to be better. And for example, like the institution I work with, one is that this year we have had more disbursements than ever compared to all the previous years. So this year, that means that people need more working capital so that they can be able to trade. And of course, again, we also know that this year the schools were opened, and the fact is that schools right now, they drive the economy. And that's why during the time when schools were closed, everything almost, there was nothing that was moving. But right now, since the opening of schools, we see that the economy is recovering. And then another key issue that we should not forget, Uganda largely depends on the agriculture. So whenever we have good harvest, there is corresponding good economic activities. And that's why you see that during the Christmas season, we saw a lot of traffic jam. So many people have gone to their home countries compared to the previous years when we were in COVID pandemic. So apart from the Ukraine war, we expect that, of course, and the prices are not only in Uganda. The prices, the inflation is higher even in other countries than Uganda. So we should adjust according to what is happening, because nothing will ever move back.
Maybe let's talk about, before I wanted to ask you about outlook for 2023, but before we get there, do you think the current state of microfinances is okay? Or you think there are some adjustments that should be done to make it much more better? What do you think?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, one is for the institution I work with, which is in Tier 3. We have been looking forward to the amendments of the Microfinance Deposit-Taking Institutions Act, where one of the key amendments that we expect is that one is to use the word bank, which is, if you're looking at the services we offer, we are actually offering banking services. Because if a customer comes and say, please come and save money with us, when the customer is coming, he will be telling you, I'm going to bank my money. I'm going to the bank. But now we don't have the word bank. So that tends to have that perception that we only lend, we don't do banking services. So with the amendments of the MDI Act, which will allow the Tier 3s use the word bank, that is going to be more, you see, business is about perception, and also how do people perceive. So when we use the word bank, For example, once the amendments is made, we expect that we shall be using Ugaford Microfinance Bank Limited. So whoever sees the word bank limited, he knows microfinance, they offer microfinance services. So we are not going to change the services offer. We are not going to say now that we have been giving a loan of 100,000, we are not going to continue to give such loans. We are going to continue, but we are going to give them in a better way. And then, of course, we disburse money, and some of our customers take this money to tier 1 institutions. So that will build confidence that this is also a bank. So that's why we are looking for that amendments. And then again, we have developments that are happening in the world, the digital world. So no longer those days where I need to carry money for longer distances. I just need to go to the next shop and I bank my money. So we have heard about agency banking, which came in Uganda, and during the COVID pandemic, it became handy. So it is the new norm of doing business. So that the amendments will also allow us to offer agency banking. And now that will help our clients to focus on their businesses rather than traveling for longer distances to come and bank the money. Because we want to use branchless banking. It is hard for you to find a branch everywhere, but it is possible we can get services without us having a branch in a location. For example, we have customers in Gayaza. How do you travel from Gayaza to Wandegea to bank the money? And yet you could bank the money in Gayaza, just next door. So that will allow us to do that. And also other services.
Maybe in 1 minute, what's your 2023? What's your outlook for 2023 as an industry?
One is, of course, 2023. As an industry, we are seeing it more bright. For example, for the tier 3s, once the MDI Act is amended, which is already on the floor of Parliament. So our expectation is that during the first half of 2023, we expect that it is amended. And once this is amended, as an institution, we are more than ready to leverage through that. So we are going to see a lot of excitement, and also we are going to see a lot of brand awareness, sensitization of the public to see what changes have been made. And then, of course, 2023, definitely, we saw that during the COVID pandemic, there were some loans that were restructured by most of the financial institutions. So we expect that most of the customers will have cleared those restructured loans, and most of the loans will be normal. So we expect that the financial sector is going to be better, and not only the financial sector, but we expect that everyone is going to be better, because at least we shall have moved away from the impact of COVID, and now we are settling. Because even when you look at the Ukraine crisis, it is now normal. Because you remember when it had just started, everyone was talking about Ukraine. Everyone was talking about economy. Now that word is continuing to disappear, and people have gone. They have let it go, and they have to adjust accordingly.
Thank you very much, sir, for this. Yeah, this has been Smart Main's Business on Ground. I've been with our CEO, Ugaford Microfinance Limited, discussing matters regarding the amendment of the Act, turning the microfinances into banks. And of course, getting to understand how the industry has been persevering in the year 2022 and what are the outlooks for 2023. Smart Means Business on Ground, Andrew Barije.
Pretty much obvious that they want to have a recognition that entails regulations like that from the Bank of Uganda, the same regulations that appeal to the commercial banks of the country. Well, but as we're signing out, just to remind you that Zabu is here for you. If you want to invest in bonds and securities, use the USSD code *292# and invest in bonds and securities for wherever you are. It will be that simple and easy for you with that USSD code. With a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can easily kickstart off your investment journey and of course have something to say about it. Well, it is as simple as you can get. Zabo is the platform by Altex East Africa which says do something new. With a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can kickstart off your investment journey. Zabo is saying my money, my future. Altex East Africa, do something new. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. And there, with 5 minutes to 10 o'clock, we come to the end of Smart Means Business Monday, 2nd January 2023. It's a new week, a new year. And of course, we are here to drive your business once more. Just wishing you all the best in everything that matters business, and make sure that you get up to speed with all those updates. And we are here dedicated to ensuring that you have a marvelous year, and of course a year of making different economic decisions that will shape up your life. Good morning, have a blessed day and a wonderful week.
Smart 24, driving business.